masterminds. What are we talking about today? We're talking about working on the business, not in the business. Now, we hear people saying this all the time, and sometimes we give it some focus and sometimes we don't. And sometimes that can just be on our wish list. You know, I wish I had time for this, but it's just so important. I'm going to go through some of the things we should be looking at every week and then why it is so important. And then I'm also going to give a handout on a daily checklist, a CEO checklist. So first of all, I think we need to start thinking as if we are a CEO. Sometimes we can minimize ourselves and we think, you know, I'm a business owner, or I'm just a sole trader, or I'm just this, or I'm just that. Well, no, you're not. You're actually a business owner with ambition and purpose, and you're also the CEO of your business. So I like to put some CEO thinking time in the business. So what I'm going to cover today is, you know, that 90 minutes a week. What should we be doing in that 90 minutes a week to work on our business? And then I'm going to go through the 7 actions that it's really great to work on every day. And it doesn't have to take a long time, but it's so important. So let's look at the 90 minutes a week, the CEO strategic thinking time. And that might seem, you know, too high in the sky for you, but it's not. You are the CEO of your business and you do need strategic thinking time. So what are we looking at in there? First of all, it's about just asking yourself the question, how do I move from being an operator, the person who does everything in the business, to being the orchestrator, right? The person who orchestrates the business. I love thinking about being the conductor, you know, of the business and the people. Now, you might not have anyone else in the business yet. You might have a team, you might not. But it's still great to start thinking as if and preparing for when you do have a team, when you are growing. So ask that question. What can I do this week to move from being an operator to an orchestrator? Right? Because if we could sit all day, every day, looking at our tasks, our to-do list, and our emails, I'm sure everybody's the same. So let's take some time away from that. So that's number 1. How do you move from being that operator, right, and asking that question? The second thing is about your relationships. I'm going to go through 4 things here. The second thing is about relationships. Who is it that you could meet that if you met them would be an absolute game changer? Now I've interviewed, I think it was Bern Harnish I interviewed before, and he said that when he was starting up, he was, you know, a nobody. And he wrote down the list of, if he had a dinner party or a sundowner, I think it was, he says, and who would I like you to be there? And he had people on there like Steve Jobs and, you know, some high players. And he wrote that list down and he went about and did what needed to happen to get all those people in the room. And he is, yeah, multi-millionaire, national, international business owner now. But so who is it, if you were having a sundowner or a launch party or a business lunch, who is it that you would like to have around that table? Who is it that if we're on your team or were associated with you or your brand would be a game changer for you? Who can you leverage? Who's already done the hard work that you can leverage? Just ask yourself that question. Asking questions, asking powerful questions are powerful because it's like by asking the universe, what this is what I need to know, you know, you'll start noticing different things by asking different questions. So number 3 is about, well, you have to start documenting the systems, the processes, the work instruction. They have to be there again, even if there's no one else to follow them. Start writing them down. You'll feel so much better because as your business grows and it gets more complex, you just end up with everything in your head. And speaking from someone from experience, when you go from having everything in your head to trying to build an operations manual for the entire company is challenging. Now, to have those work instructions, checklists, templates, recording everything you do on Loom will save you hours and hours of headaches at a later date. And if you do decide to start working with someone part-time or a contractor, they can just plug into your systems. And again, that's CEO thinking. The business should be able to run without you. Or that's the goal, that's what you're aiming for. So how do you allow the business to work without you? And you might just start by identifying each week what systems need to be automated, which ones can be improved. And if you don't have like a sales system documented, how can you improve it or measure it? Or, you know, look at each component to see what's working and what's not. So systemization, whether we like it or not, is essential to move from working in the business to on the business. So those work instructions are working on the business. So every week, working on the systems, processes, checklist, templates. And number 4 is just reconnecting with your why. And I think this is so important because I see it so often. We start businesses for one reason because you've got this passion for what you do as a service provider, or you love bookkeeping, or you absolutely love legal work. But what we end up doing is building the business. So they're two different things. There's the being the technician and the service provider, or there's the business owner building a business. And sometimes they're not matched, right? Sometimes people absolutely do not want to be building a business and doing sales and marketing. And that's a really great realization to make, because you need to look for the person who is going to do that for you. So reconnecting with your why, so that business never becomes a chore. It never becomes, the rod for your back because you built this empire. So reconnect with your why, and how do we bring that into your week? So that's a 90-minute a week. That might be 30 minutes for you. It might be 60 minutes. It might be 90 minutes. But start with the CEO thinking. What does the business need from me this week? As the CEO of this business, what does the business need from me, and how can I serve it? Right? Moving from operator to orchestrator. But what does it need from me? And I think that's a very different question. That works really well for me. It's like, well, this is what I've got on my to-do list, but what does the business need? And that should be my first priority that week. So strategic thinking, what does the business need from you? What systems and processes, what relationships, and reconnect with your why. So that's your CEO thinking time. And then what I've also done is the handout that goes along with this is the CEO daily checklist, right? So there's 7 actions in there every day. So set 3 goals, right? What are the most important results that your business needs today and in the next 3 months? 3 things that you have to do that day. Number 2, review the key metrics. What numbers do I need to be on top of, right? And again, sales gets measured daily and weekly, not monthly and quarterly. What metrics do I need to be monitoring every single day in my business? Number 3, what is the bottleneck? Where are things not moving? How do I remove the bottlenecks, right? Again, ask yourself every day, what do I need to do to remove the bottleneck? Number 4, document or improve one system, one document, one template. Number 5, delegate or automate one task. Free up one task. It doesn't matter how small or how big. Delegate one task every single day. Plan next week's action, right? And for your 90 minutes or your days, like plan next week, get into that groove, get into your CEO thinking time. And number 7, again, it's always just about reflecting on alignment. Am I doing what's needed of me? Am I doing what serves me? Am I doing what serves my customers? Am I still in flow? Am I turning up for the business on who I should be? Am I avoiding responsibilities? Am I avoiding doing what needs to be done to move the needle in the business? What does it need from you as opposed to what's on your to-do list or your task list today? So look, love to get involved in the discussions around this. The daily checklist is there for you to implement. The focus really, I'd love to be around that 90 minutes a week. Are we doing that? Are we not doing that? What works for you to get you into strategic thinking time? Is it a wish list? Is that something that's just never going to happen? I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on what are you doing to work on the business? What works for you? What doesn't work for you? Where are you struggling? And how can we leverage each other's knowledge, experience, activities here so that we can get into that technique, get into that groove, get into that habit of thinking time and moving the needle forward. Look forward to chatting with everyone. Thank you very much.